Hi, friends. It's Julie Boye here, your intuitive business and health coach and the host of the Wake Up with Gratitude podcast. In today's video clip, I'm sharing with you a little snippet of the interview that I did with Jane Stark, where we discussed what it's like to experience an NDE or near-death experience. I'll explain what an NDE is at the beginning of the clip, and then Jane shares her incredible story about what happened after she gave birth to her first child. Okay, so let's go right into this video where Jane shares her story with us.
That worked for both of us. I thought, okay, here we go. But no, I'm feeling good.
Good, me too. And just to give a little bit of context for those that are like, well, what is a near-death experience? I'm going to share a little quote just from an article that I read in Scientific American, and I can post the link for those that want to read the whole article. But I just to be clear of what we're talking about. So NDE, that's the short form for a near-death experience, are not fancy flights of the imagination. They share broad commonalities: becoming pain-free, seeing a bright light at the end of a tunnel, and other visual phenomena, detaching from one's body and floating above it, or even flying off into space, out-of-body experiences. They might include meeting loved ones, living or dead, or spiritual beings such as angels, or a distorted sense of time and space. Now, the reason I share this is because our experiences are very different. And I know both of us are sometimes like, did we experience this? Like, what actually happened? And one of the reasons I guess we wanted to do this is because I think for me, when someone else recognized it for me, it helped me feel better about what I experienced. So tell me a little bit about, because you didn't know that you'd even had a near-death experience, right, when it happened. So you can go ahead and start with your story, I think. Go ahead.
Sure. So the Coles notes of my story is that when I had my first daughter, I had a postpartum hemorrhage. And what I didn't realize at the time, but when I hemorrhaged, I had this really profound experience where I very vividly remember being above the hospital room, above the hospital bed, looking down on myself. And it wasn't even just that I was looking down on myself. The thing that really stuck with me is there was like blue sky and clouds, and I was in the clouds. And it was the part in that quote about the time, I don't know the length of time. It was very much like, I don't know how much time I was sort of up in that space or in and out of my body. It was all a bit of a blur, but it was very clear that that had happened. Without going into all the details of my story, though, nobody really, I came back into body, I came back, and it felt very quick in the real world. And so it was just kind of like, okay, her vitals are okay, she's here, like I was present. They, triaged and we got things under control. And then it was just really more about the critical care part, right? Like, okay, like I say, her vitals are there and whatnot, and we kind of moved on. And so nobody actually talked to me about what had happened other than, you lost a lot of blood, but you're here and you're okay type thing. And I mean, I had just had a baby, I had just gone through all of that, and then, like, eventually I get home and I got a newborn, and so I didn't even really stop and have the time, I don't think, to process what had happened. But then carry on 7 years. It was 7 years later that I met a psychologist who my story had come up, and he looked at me and he was the one when I said, like, it was like I was floating above the hospital bed, and he was like, well, that's an NDE, right? And I didn't even know what NDE meant at that point, at that time. And I was like, what's that?
Thanks for watching. And if you want to hear the rest of the interview, please visit the Wake Up with Gratitude podcast to hear the full interview. I'll put the link in the description. And if you like this content, make sure to give it a thumbs up. And of course, to help the algorithm, it would be amazing if you could share a comment with us. For more content like this, make sure you click on subscribe and click the notification bell if you want to be notified every time I post a new video. Thanks, friends, and I'll see you next time.